Big news! Wayfair's President's Day clearance is on now, and you can score tons of huge deals. Like Wayfair's best deals since Black Friday. Right now through February 16th, you can score up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Like up to 50% off mattresses with fast and easy shipping straight to your door. Plus amazing flash deals on President's Day. Shop Wayfair's President's Day clearance now through February 16th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
At Lowe's, get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, members get free delivery, install, and more when you spend $2,500 on select major appliances. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 2/25 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Excludes Massachusetts, Maryland, Wisconsin, New Jersey, Florida. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for details. Subject to change.
Visit your nearby Lowe's on Russell Branch Parkway Southeast in Leesburg.
This is Optimal Relationships Daily. Holding hands with loved ones creates interpersonal synchronization by Brooke Blanton with Gottman.com. A few weekends ago, I woke up with a nasty migraine. I knew it the second my eyes opened on that Saturday morning. The imaginary ice pick that has plagued me my entire life was back in its usual spot, right behind my left eye. But this time was different. I live with my boyfriend now. In the 5.5 years we've been together, he's seen bits and pieces of my migraines, but this was the first full-fledged attack he's ever witnessed. He doesn't get migraines, so he can't relate. But he certainly sympathizes as I writhe around with my hands over my eye like a makeshift pirate and run to the bathroom to vomit. Between trips 1 and 2 to the bathroom, with a nap in between, I realized he had cleaned the toilet for me, as the daily grime had built up. "I just didn't want you to have to look into a dirty toilet," he answered, very matter-of-factly when I thanked him. When I crawled back into bed during that migraine, I asked my boyfriend if he would lay with me for a while. I consistently have a hard time falling asleep with a migraine due to the pain, so I knew his calming presence would settle me down. As he played games on his phone with his left hand and held mine with his right, I fell asleep within minutes. His presence, even while he played games on his phone, was no grand gesture, but holding my hand was a small moment of care and kindness that helped me. Those are the kinds of actions that couples can take every day to build connection. The emotional importance of holding hands. A few weeks before the migraine, I suffered an intense week-long anxiety attack. From morning to night, if I wasn't being distracted by work stress, my mind was spiraling into negative ruminations and panic. It was the most severe and long-lasting bout of anxiety I'd ever experienced, and I was terrified. For a week, I tried all the anxiety-reducing tricks I've learned over the years. Grounding myself, breathing, staying hydrated, taking GABA supplements, journaling, exercising, and talking to a therapist. These strategies made a dent in my anxiety, but the only thing that truly calmed me and soothed me was my boyfriend. The first morning of the anxiety attack, I woke up in a panic, and after a failed attempt to sweat out the negative energy on the treadmill, I got back into bed with my boyfriend. I felt my heart rate slow a bit. As he listened to me explain what I was feeling, he gently rubbed my legs, and as I bent over to cry into the pillow, he rubbed my back. He held my hand as I tried to sleep, and somehow, I was able to slip into a deep, exhausted slumber. He knew I loved to be touched, and while I was suffering from anxiety, he was mindful of my need for physical connection. When he held my hand, he gave me what I needed to calm down and feel supported and loved through my struggle. Throughout the rest of the anxiety attack, I relied on my new technique: touch my boyfriend as much as possible. Every evening when I didn't have work on my mind and the anxiety came back with full force, holding his hand was the only thing that could quiet the dread and rebalance my brain chemistry. He got me through that terrifying experience by just existing. His calming energy and openness to be there for me was just the medicine I needed. The phenomenon of interpersonal brainwave synchronization. After the anxiety attack was over, and after the migraine a few weeks later had subsided, I was out of town visiting my sister and missing my boyfriend. I was excited to see a text from him. It was a link to a study claiming that holding your partner's hand during difficult times can sync your heart rate and breathing, and even alleviate pain. It's a phenomenon called interpersonal synchronization, and it makes sense that those who love being touched would find comfort and connection in holding hands. The lead researcher, Pavel Goldstein, got the idea for the study while his wife was in labor. Goldstein noticed that when he held his wife's hand, her pain seemed to be less intense than when he wasn't. The study took 22 couples who had been together for at least a year and had them either sit in different rooms, sit together and not touch, or sit together and hold hands. They applied mild heat pain to the arm of one partner and watched the brain waves differ between the varying levels of closeness. When the couple was sitting next to each other holding hands, the brain wave sync was the strongest. How incredible is that? We spend years building connections with the people in our lives, romantic partners, close family members, best friends. So consider the importance of physical touch. The next time you experience a difficult situation, cling to your loved ones, hold their hands, and see if that helps to calm you. You might be surprised at the kinds of emotional connection you can experience together through a small gesture of physical connection. You just listened to the post titled, Holding Hands with Loved Ones Creates Interpersonal Synchronization by Brooke Blanton with Gottman.com.
Are you a fraud-paying American? It's a fact that 1 in 4 honest, hard-working, tax-paying Americans has been a victim of identity theft. With LifeLock Identity Theft Protection, though, if your identity is stolen, they fix it, guaranteed, and get you your money back. Last year, the IRS flagged over $16 billion in refunds for identity fraud. That's billions of dollars that could come from your salary, overtime, or second job. But this year, you don't need to stay a victim. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second for your personal information and alerts you to threats you could easily miss on your own. And if your information does fall into the wrong hands, only LifeLock has U.S.-based restoration specialists who are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. Because this tax season, fraud-paying American is something no American should have to claim. Visit LifeLock.com/iHeart and save up to 40% your first year. That's 40% off at LifeLock.com/iHeart. Terms apply.
And thanks a lot to Brooke for this heartwarming, or perhaps hand-warming article today. Sometimes research and charm do cross paths as they have this time. A really great point from Brooke at the end, too. Physical touch of any kind can really bring us closer to loved ones. Whether it's parents, siblings, cousins, friends, and, whether you're holding their hands or shaking their hands, hugging, high-fiving, or whatever else. Sometimes these very simple gestures can go a long way if we're feeling down. They can also go a long way for those who aren't particularly verbally expressive. If we're not so talkative in general, or just not in a talkative mood for whatever reason, physical touch can be a great way of expressing and building affection. So consider if it's something you might use to create connection with someone who, again, might not be so expressive otherwise, or just during a time in which it is difficult to speak your feelings. That's going to do it for this one, though, everybody. Thank you, as always, for being here and making another episode possible. And stay tuned because our weekly bonus episode is available now in your feed as well. So I'll see you over there where your optimal life awaits.